Bula, and welcome to Tabarua Island for the 2008 Globe Pro Fiji, stop number 4 on the ASP World Tour. And if there's any event that puts the dream in Dream Tour, it is this one, which has been voted time and again by the top 45 surfers in the world as their favorite. And it's easy to see why. We're hiding out here in the South Pacific on a number of tiny islands surrounded by some of the world's best surf. In order to crown a world champion, the ASP, or Association of Surfing Professionals, gathers 45 of the world's best surfers and takes them to 11 legendary surf breaks all over the globe. Each of these locations has its own unique surfing culture, but none has the serenity and sheer beauty of Fiji. The world's best surfers have just arrived here in Fiji to find the surf pumping, and opening ceremonies are about to begin. So join us for what will undoubtedly be a memorable event. Because the Globe Pro Fiji is one of the most prestigious athletic events in the entire country, the Prime Minister of Fiji came to greet the surfers at this year's customary kava ceremony. Even though competition won't begin for another day, most of the surfers have been going pretty light on the kava, because directly out in front, Restaurants has been firing during opening ceremonies. And afterward, one of the best free surfing sessions you could ask for took place. Round 1 began at Restaurants, which is Tabarua's trophy wave. Sitting just a few hundred yards off the beach, it peels perfectly along one of the best-shaped reef passes in the world. But Restaurants takes a good-sized swell just to break, and that's just what we got in the early part of the waiting period. Jordy Smith, the highly touted rookie from South Africa, has gotten off to a rough start on this year's ASP Tour, but he finally got his first Round 1 victory. When you think of favorites on Tabarua, you automatically lean toward goofy footers, which is why Bobby Martinez was one to watch. Damien Hobgood has been surfing Tabarua since the age of 16. In fact, the performances that he and his brother turned in here on Tabarua got the world talking about the Hobgood twins way back then. Today, not much has changed. The world's best were buzzing about Hobgood's assault on Restaurants. Despite showing up just hours before his heat, Andy Irons managed to impress his fellow competitors and the judges with his Round 1 onslaught. Irons moving on to round 3. Taylor Knox looked like he might be skipping the elimination round 2 as he was surfing beautifully. But Knox had the misfortune of being up against one Mr. Kelly Slater. And Slater, the current tour leader, has had a very long affair with Tavarua, and it was evident in his round 1 heat, as Kelly scored 4 waves over 9.0.
That's right.
Reigning world champion Mick Fanning would respond to Kelly Slater in the very next heat, scoring some impressive tubes of his own.
Hard to watch the heat before because the waves were so good, and I was just kind of couldn't get out there quick enough. So, I mean, the waves were unbelievable, and you know, kind of was a little bit slow for our heat, but you know, still pumping.
Despite the lack of set waves in his heat, Parko was victorious out at restaurants and moved into round 3. CJ Hobgood, like his brother Damien, was in great form early on, looking like he might be the man to beat. After a slow start to the season, Taj Burrow needed to come out of the gates on Tavarua firing, and it was mission accomplished in round 1. Let's disappear till tomorrow. Let's disappear till tomorrow. Toward the end of day 1, conditions were beginning to deteriorate at restaurants, so the competition was moved the following morning out to Cloudbreak, Tavarua's other world-class wave. Cloudbreak is a more consistent spot, catching any southern swell that comes its way. That's because it sits 2 miles in the middle of the ocean, just south of Tavarua. Wildcard Mark Akalupo had an impressive round 2 win in the bigger conditions, while Bobby Martinez stunned the judges with this gaping cavern. Another impressive showing was put in by Aussie upstart Ace Buchan.
You know, really stoked to get a win, and hopefully the waves keep improving, and it's really good to have an event in some solid surf.
In the next heat, it was CJ Hobgood facing off against Australia's Daniel Ross, who made a rookie mistake of going with a lengthy 6'8" in the bigger conditions. The decision ended up costing him. That's because CJ Hobgood knows full well that a smaller board works perfectly fine at Tavarua. Hobgood looked lightning fast compared to Ross and advanced into round 3. Californian Timmy Reyes was impressive in his round 2 heat with this gutsy backside performance that pushed him into the next round. Then things got interesting with a couple fiercely fought battles. The first between Australian Danny Wills and Hawaiian powerhouse Poncho Sullivan. Poncho would burst out to an early lead, actually having Wills comboed, but Danny is never one to roll over. He clawed his way back into contention with just minutes left to go. Poncho was able to seal the deal on his last ride, however, as the big man unleashed a flurry of savage backside hacks. following heat, it was Bruce Irons who staged an amazing comeback versus Mickey Picon with this stunning tube ride. When you imagine being stranded on a South Pacific island, the image you conjure up is likely that of Tavarua. The island is so small it takes just 15 minutes to walk around the entire thing. Too small, in fact, to house the entire top 45. While the Americans all stay on Tavarua, a large contingent of Australians stay on the neighboring island of Namotu.
No, in a nutshell, this is a better nut than the other one over there. If you put it in a shell, eat it all day long. The Namotu rules.
Well, here we are on beautiful island of Namotu, of course, where all the Australians stay and where myself and a few of my good friends are staying at the moment. Okay, so this is the house we're staying at on the beautiful Namotu. There's a couple of other little villas spread around across the place, but this house actually was built for Tom Hanks when they were filming the movie Castaway. I don't know if you heard of it, just kind of a little low-budget movie, but so we're pretty lucky to be staying here. It's a beautiful place, so I'm going to show you around, give you a little inside look. You've got the world's best surfers, and they all like to bring about 20 surfboards each, so the place is a bit of a mess, but we've got some of Adrian Buchan's boards, we've got some of Yaden Nichols' boards. There's probably all up around 150 boards here, I'd say, because everyone just brings as many boards as they can, because cloud break's a really heavy wave and it's going to snap some boards. So come inside and we'll have a look around in here. Okay, so this is the inside of the house. This is a lounge room slash bedroom where they've kind of crammed everybody in. As you can see, a lot of beds in here. It's been pretty flat the last couple of days, so we've been going a little bit loopy here on the island. A few of the boys staying in the room attacked some of Yaden's boards, and as you can see, the result's actually pretty cool. So kind of a few artists in-house, been going mad on these things, but a lot of fun when there's no waves and there's not really much else to do besides watch porn or movies. So coming outside here, as you can see, we've got probably the best view on the island. A few waves. That was a tour of the house and the tour of Namotu. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers and peace out.
Australian Bede Durbridge continued his winning ways in round 3, easily disposing of South African Royden Bryson. Damien Hobgood was looking very solid in his round 3 heat, living up to the hype that comes with being a 2-time champion here on Tavarua.
Good to get some waves. You know, I definitely felt a little tight. First couple of waves, probably could have scored higher, and but I was really stoked because I was able to gain some momentum and really kind of loosen up towards the end there.
Midway through his round 3 heat, Damien Hobgood had already clinched his ticket into round 4, but he'd need the extra waves to prepare for his next matchup, which would be against either Kelly Slater or Mark Akalupo. Reigning world champion Mick Fanning demonstrated once again in round 3 that he'd been working on his backside tube riding skills, advancing easily into the next round. And in the very next heat, Aussie rookie Dayon Nev had one of the best heats of his career, earning a 9.6 on this ride and knocking out South Africa's Jordy Smith in the process. Tajborough walked away with the most impressive round 3 total, earning himself a perfect 10 for this beautiful backside 2.
It was good fun. It felt pretty good. I haven't had a 10 in a while. It's pretty hard to get one these days, so I might have thrown out a little claims, but I just couldn't help it. It felt really good. I was just locked in. I thought there wasn't a chance for a bit, and then I kept going and going, and yeah, then there was this opening and just shot me through, so it felt awesome. I'm stoked.
But the marquee matchup of round 3 was between tour leader Kelly Slater and the legendary Mark Occhilupo. Slater jumping out to an early lead on the strength of his devastating vertical attack. Occhi would do his best to keep things close, relying on his trademark mid-face car. Kelly extended his lead into a combo situation midway through the heat, but Occhi refused to roll over. In the waning moments, Occhi nabbed this tube to put things back in doubt. But Slater would finally shut the door on Occhi with this last-minute 9.0.
That heat I was a little off because I don't know, if I was caught up in the moment surfing against Occhi, probably one of his last events. Just thinking about that more than what I actually need to do out there.
CJ Hobgood once again looked finely tuned in his matchup against Australian Kieran Perot, following his brother's lead into the next round. And with the swell waning at day's end, Joel Parkinson found enough to get by Travis Logan. In heat number 1, it was Luke Stedman versus Bede Durbridge in the early morning hours, and the conditions were pretty solid. Steady had a nice crack off the top early, getting off to a good start in this heat. But Bede Durbridge, aka the White Fijian, came firing back with a solid backhand attack. Huge snaps off the top, and Bede kept finding the barrel. Next up was the matchup between Timmy Reyes of California and Australian Tajborough. Timmy was looking to jump out to an early lead, but ran into trouble on the inside low tide section. Taj jumped right back, answering, but had problems in the same area. But Taj would go on to make adjustments, and his surfing from that point on looked unstoppable. Tajborough, wicked backhand attack, onto the quarterfinals. In what turned out to be one of the best matchups of the day, Bobby Martinez threaded a couple barrels versus Ace Buchan. These two fiery goofy footers went head to head and battled all the way till the end with some solid surfing. Bobby jumped out to a commanding lead with this 8.5, a solid series of lip bashes, followed by a nice little 2. Martinez moving on. The next heat was the most anticipated heat of the day. Damien Hobgood, a 2-time Tabarua champion, versus Kelly Slater, no slouch himself. Hobgood, looking a little sticky, deciding to go with a little longer board this morning. But Kelly was looking very precise. Carving and smashing, the king looked like he was feeling it. Kelly kept the blows coming, taking the smaller waves with the open face and advancing on to the quarterfinals. In the next heat, it was Mick Fanning, the world champ, against Dayon Nev. in very trying conditions as the wind switched and picked up, making things very difficult for these surfers. But the champ, Mick Fanning, grinded this one out, sends Day on packing, and advances. Next up, it was Chris Ward versus CJ Hobgood, and Wardo jumped out to an early lead with a strong backhand attack. Then, in the waning moments, Hobgood scored this very hard-to-find tube in the afternoon froth and continued to rip this wave all the way into the quarterfinals. Heat number 7 was a battle between the big, powerful backhanders, with Joel Parkinson facing Poncho Sullivan. Parco found some room to move as things were getting dicey out there. Meanwhile, Poncho kept looking for the cover-ups, but couldn't find much else afterward. So Parco, in form, moves on to the next round. And what had to be the upset of the day was Adriano de Souza taking out Freddie Patascia. De Souza set things up in motion early with a whopping 9.0. Of course, Freddie, never one to roll over, came firing back with some beautiful combinations. But D'Souza kept nabbing the open-faced waves and taking advantage of them. Adriano into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, really happy in this moment. So just have fun and still focus enough for quarters tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow have a really good waves.
Of course, the down days aren't really down days in Fiji, because when the conditions deteriorated over on Namotu, Tajburo and Yaden Nickel grabbed the ski to make the most of whatever they could find. Meanwhile, with the competition still on hold, the rest of the top 45 got their free surfing in on any reef they saw fit. As you would expect, a lot goes into the production of the Globe Pro Fiji. Considering the logistics of getting all the surfers, staff, and media to Fiji, plus the housing and transportation of everyone in Fiji, and finally the amount of time we're putting in on the jet skis, the reef, the boats, and the ferry, Globe has recognized the environmental impact that is left behind. And with that recognition, they've developed their Globe First program, which is an ongoing initiative the company will continue to work under, taking into consideration how their day-to-day business practices are impacting the Earth. Globe is looking to be an environmentally responsible leader in the action sports market, not as a marketing exercise, but out of a will to alter their business practices and those of others for the benefit of the globe. Specifically, at the Globe Pro Fiji, Globe has made a donation to the Carbon Fund. And through their carbon-free surfing program, the donation will go towards the Paso Pacifico reforestation project that is underway in Nicaragua. In order to offset the entire impact of the event, Globe is funding the reforestation of nearly 6 acres of Nicaraguan forest, or about 1,500 trees planted in an area that had previously been clear-cut. For more information on Globe and its Globe First program, visit globe.tv/globefirst. From there, you can link yourself to carbon-free surfing and find out more about how you too can offset your surf travel, whether it be overseas or just down at your local break. Think about the globe first. Back in 2005, CJ Hobgood and Kelly Slater squared off in the final, and by the time the quarterfinals rolled around this year, it looked like we could be seeing a repeat of '05, as both surfers looked unbeatable. The next quarterfinal was a highly anticipated match between Bobby Martinez and Kelly Slater, and Martinez would open up with a huge 9.0, immediately putting the champ on the defensive. But midway through the heat, Kelly got himself a 6.0, keeping him within striking distance all the way through. In the closing moments, Slater capitalized on a Martinez error when Martinez used his priority on a smaller insider. Martinez would turn around to see his worst nightmare coming true. Kelly Slater in the tube and then out, flying right into the semifinals. But for CJ to get his shot at a rematch versus Slater, he'd first have to get by world champion Mick Fanning. And Hobgood was simply masterful in this one, as he seemed to not only find every good wave in the heat, but he ripped them to shreds as well. Champ would do his best to respond, but he really wasn't a match for CJ in this one, as this quickly turned into a rout. Hobgood moving on into the semifinal. Taj Burrow and Bede Durbridge, the two Australians, fighting tooth and nail all the way through to keep their title hopes alive in this one. Durbridge came into Fiji rated 3rd in the world and was relying on his powerful backhand attack to keep him in that lofty position. But Burrow would respond with his textbook rapid-fire approach, enticing the judges with his speed and flair. Burrow moved on into semifinal number 1. In quarterfinal number 4, it was Joel Parkinson, rated 2nd in the world, who desperately needed to keep pace with Slater, especially after B. Durbridge had dropped out earlier in this round. But he'd have his work cut out for him versus Adriano de Souza. And though the lead would change hands twice in this heat, Parco's last-minute backup was only a 4.8, leaving the door open for de Souza. De Souza capitalized and made his way into the semifinals. Semi-final number 1 was a showdown between Taj and Kelly, 2 guys who have been in form all week here on Tavarua. Slater opened up though with a big 9.33, putting the pressure on Taj with this huge pit. But of course Slater wasn't done yet, turning what looked like your average mush ball up the reef into one of the best rides of the day with another 9. This one even better, a 9.37, sending Slater into his 3rd final in 4 events.
I feel like as each heat's progressed, I've actually gotten less nervous. For some reason, I was kind of nervous against Aki and in that Bobby heat too. I just didn't feel like myself. But now I feel pretty good and relaxed, and I'll have Adriano or CJ. I'd imagine CJ's the guy out here, so I would imagine it'd be him. But Adriano can pull the upset. He's done it a few times this contest.
The next matchup in semifinal number 2, it was CJ Hobgood versus Adriano de Souza. Hobgood would come firing back with this gaping tube into a massive floater, earning himself a 9.87. Of course, CJ would follow that up with more, ending Adriano's incredible run here on Tavarua and making the 2008 finals here a repeat of 2005, with Slater and CJ matched up against each other once again. After a quick break back on the boat, the boys headed back into the lineup for the final. Kelly Slater picked up right where he left off with solid back-to-back scores right out of the gate. Slater was looking more determined than ever with some very brilliant surfing. CJ was looking for answers, but having trouble finding them in the early going. The Slater would pile it on, putting Hobgood in a combo situation after this wave. But Hobgood would claw his way back, giving himself the faintest of chances with time running out after this 7.67. But Kelly was not to be denied. He'd make CJ his final victim in a long list of Tavarua standouts on the way to yet another impressive victory. With his third victory in 4 events, Slater is on quite the run. He has yet to lose to a world title surfer this year. And Slater is looking pretty solid for his 9th world title.
Really in disbelief. I got to sit down and think about this for a little while. It all kind of happened so suddenly. I really got out in the lead real quick in that heat. You know, if we look at it on paper, I had to go through the hardest draw. I mean, I had CJ in the final, Taj in the semi, Bobby before that, Damien before that. I mean, that's a you know, you don't want to come up against those guys 4 in a row. So.
Yeah, it was a rematch and it was the same outcome. And
I told him, bro, let's have a repeat.
yeah, no, it's tough. Yeah.
Well, I got to go and experience it with the girls in the kitchen over there. They start crying and stuff. They get all emotional. They're stoked. You know, I've known them all for like 18 years now, coming here, and you know, for me, it's that the win's better just because I get to share it with them. You know, it's almost like the only reason I want to win is just so I can go back in there and give them a hug and take a picture. So it's pretty cool.
Running through the streets, hungry for strength. No invitation, take me away. You go sexual.
They kicked off the award ceremony with the Freestyle Tube Time Award, and the winner this year, Mick Fanning, with this impressive 12-second tube ride at restaurants on day 1 of competition. Congratulations to Kelly Slater and, of course, CJ Hobgood as well. And we hope you guys enjoyed yourselves as much as we did. We'll be right back here next year, and we hope you'll join us. Vinaka, everyone.